Hari Om. First of all, I welcome you all in this YCB Level 3 course. So 3.6, 3.7, 3.8, and 3.9, 10. These 4 to 5 points we are going to discuss with reference to psychology and its relation with yoga. Before starting, I would like to express my deep sense of gratitude towards respected Guruji, Mr. Gandhar sir, Purnima Tai, and even Aishwarya Joshi madam for giving me this opportunity to share some thoughts on psychology with you, renowned people. So 3.6 first, we are going to discuss about introduction to psychology, then the cognition, its types, process, meaning, and nature of what exactly mean by cognition. So, and even motivation, human motivation system, and it's and with reference to emotion as well. So before starting, already as we have discussed in our level 2, what exactly mean by psychology, its definition, and so many aspects of it, importance. Also, we are going to discuss definitions, emotional expressions, even biological changes, psychological health, and yogic perspective. To start with, the word psychology, it is originated with two Greek terms called as psyche and logos. Psyche means mind and logos means science. So scientific study of mind is what is psychology. Broadly and very much easy, concise, particular definition of psychology is the scientific study of human and animal behavior. Now, some of us may have thought that how can we study our mind scientifically? Because means when we use the word science or scientific study, we need some object to see, to conduct some experiments, to have a particular conclusions on it. But even today, in 21st world, our mind, our psyche, it is not visible. We cannot see and we cannot show it to others. Then how come to study this invisible thing scientifically? As we have discussed in YCV level 2, that some of the components of mind, they are traceable. Like for example, our thoughts, our emotions, our actions, even memory, forgetting, needs, desires. With all these particular components, our mind reflects, our intentions, our psyche reflects. And these particular parameters of our mind, they are, they can be objectively studied. We have a particular standardized psychological test through which we can study the components of mind. And remember that all these components, they are applicable to all human beings. However, frequency, duration, and intensity, it will differ from person to person. Everybody's thoughts are not same. Everybody's emotions, it may not be same. But emotion as a component of mind, it is applicable to all of us. So they have used the word scientific study. Now, another thought, a particular question, it may arise that it's okay to study human behavior, but how far it is possible or why we should study animal behavior? The answer for this particular thought that all the time it is not possible to conduct each and every experiment only on human beings. Some experiments we have to conduct on animals and then we can use that particular analogy to human beings. And that's why scientists, they have experimented some particular parameters on animals. It can be on dog, rats, pigeons. So many animals have been studied for scientific purpose only. And then those findings have been applied to human behavior or human mind. So the definition is psychology is the scientific study of human and animal behavior. Remember, it is applicable to any topic that if you study any point from elaborative perspective, initially you may find that some excessive time is investing, but the output, it will be helpful for the longer run. So that's why any definition, it is always suggested to study from elaborative perspective, from deeper perspective. So after moving a basic introduction to psychology, so next it comes, that is objectives or goals of psychology. Each and every subject has some goals, some objectives to study. It helps us to understand that while studying that particular field and after studying, what exactly we should be able to understand or learn. So, for psychology, we have 4 goals or objectives. The first one is explanation of a behavior. Scientific study of psychology will help you to explain a particular behavior. Because in day-to-day term, it happens that generally we label the person. He is naughty, she is mischievous, he is idiot, or he is not interested in study. He is quite hyperactive. She is depressed also. We become judgmental. On the contrary, scientific study of psychology helps us to understand and explain the behavior. Being naughty means exactly what? How far you are able to explain the behavior? Because if you are able to explain the behavior, that means you are able to notice even minor changes in that particular behavior. And that's why psychology, it is a deeper study. It is not a particular superficial study. So, study of psychology will help you to explain the behavior in a detailed manner. If you are able to explain the behavior, then you will be able to understand and describe the behavior. Explanation and description, both are 2 different terms. Description in the sense, ability to analyze and think about cause and effect relationship. Ability to understand the antecedent, behavior, and consequences. In terms of behavioristic perspective, it is called as applied behavior analysis. What exactly has happened or occurred earlier so that particular wanted or unwanted behavior we have seen? And if it is seen, then in which particular context or what particular consequences it has led up. So what has happened earlier, the behavior and the consequences of that particular behavior, antecedent, behavior and consequences, cause and effect relationship, that help you to describe the behavior. And if you are able to describe the behavior from this analytical perspective, then it will really add in your perception of understanding that person, if we see. According to REBT, Rational Emotive Behavior Therapy, which is coined by Dr. Albert Ellis, he said that do not judge the person on his actions. Rather, try to understand the belief system or perception of that person behind that particular action, then only you will be able to understand the person in a true sense. That's why description of a behavior, it is important. The third goal or objective of psychology is prediction of a behavior. So if you are able to analyze the behavior, that which particular thing is responsible for that particular wanted or unwanted behavior, then in future you will be able to predict the behavior, that if A is happening, then in nearby time frame that B is also going to be there. To control unwanted behavior and to enhance and to support the behavior, you must be able to predict a person's behavior, how he will act, how he will behave in future in a given situation. Psychology will help you to understand this. And then fourth thing is controlling the behavior. How far understanding of this subject will help you to control the behavior if it is inappropriate, unwanted, and undesired? If it is expected and if it is correct, appropriate behavior, how can you promote or how can you give some reinforcement so that the occurrence of that particular behavior, it will get strengthened? In that context, controlling word has been used here. So these four goals help you to understand a person's mindset and its given set of actions. So after discussing origin of psychology, the definition and objectives, let's start with history of psychology, history and even perspectives. Understanding the history of any field, it is essential because this study helps us to understand that what work has been done so far in that particular field. And it has also said that without canvas, we cannot paint the picture. So understanding the history helps you to understand the depth of that particular subject. Earlier, psychology means, of course, if human being it is there, then mind and psyche has to be there. So earlier also, study of mind, it was there, but in earlier eras, it was completely from philosophical perspective. In India also, most of the people, even today, they have a thought that psychology, it is nothing but whatever has been said or mentioned in Gita, Quran, Bible also. It is absolutely true. But considering Western perspective, they have separated psychology from philosophy. Because earlier, Aristotle, Plato, Socrates, Epictetus, all these great thinkers, philosophers, they have spoke about our mind. Epictetus, he had said that it is not outside event or people which makes us disturb, but it is the view which we take towards them. If we are able to change our perception, then definitely we are able to change the person or ourselves. Aristotle, rather, he has written entire book on mind called as De Anima. But this entire writing, it is completely based from philosophical perspective of mind. In 1879, William Wundt, he separated psychology from philosophy and he started first psychology lab in Germany, Leipzig University, where he started to study the terms like reaction time, reflex actions, and all. According to him, if you truly want to study your mind, it is always better to study the structure of your mind. Now, how can we study our structure? So he said that introspection, it is the best way to study your structure of mind. Even Swami Vivekananda, he has also said once that talk to yourself at least once in a day, otherwise you will miss the beautiful conversation in the world. If we are able to have a word with ourselves, then after a couple of weeks, definitely we will be able to understand our structure. Am I really introvert or extrovert? Am I really able to plan my routine, work activities or so? And what exactly purpose or goal am I able to set for myself, at least month, year, or for life at large? I need to understand my structure first, then only I can understand rest of the thing in the world. So William Wundt in 1879, he coined the term structuralism to understand Dharma. In nearby decade, in America, in US, William James, he was also studying the concept of mind, but with a different perspective. According to William James in US, instead of studying structure of mind, it's always better to understand the functions of mind, how exactly our mind works or act. Functionalism. If we are able to understand our functions, definitely we will be able to understand ourselves. For example, emotions, if we say, in day-to-day life, now scientists, they have come up with a figure that daily we express and experience more than 30 to 40 emotions. So many shades are there, so many different varieties of emotions are there. This is how our mind acts or work functions. Same thing with our thoughts. Constructive thought, positive, negative, inductive, deductive, logical, creative, fundamental. So many types of thinking are there. Same thing with actions, overt actions. So it is always better to understand the function of our mind, according to William James in US. Then a decade passed, and then 19th century, first 20 years, it was highly discussed only because of Sigmund Freud's concept of psychoanalysis, ego, superego. I'm sure you might have heard the term that conscious mind, subconscious mind, unconscious mind. So, conscious in the sense the things about which we are aware right now, about today's day, date, the lecture which we are attending or seeing right now, we are conscious. Pre-conscious or subconscious. Things are there, but we are not able to, immediately have easy access for it. Like some academic things or mathematical particular calculations we have heard, listened, studied earlier. So conscious mind, pre-conscious mind, and unconscious in the sense are suppressed thoughts, emotions, actions. Sigmund Freud also spoke about psychosexual stages of development. According to him, between the age of 2 to 3 years, boy is getting sexually attracted towards his mother, and a girl is getting sexually attracted towards her father. Why and how it is so? With the help of some Greek, mythological stories, symbolic stories, Sigmund Freud explained this point in his theory called as psychoanalysis, psychosexual stages of personality development. So he said that first 5 to 7 years are so crucial for child's development of a personality. The way parents treat, their children that matters a lot. We are the victims of our past, according to Freud, which of course rest of the psychologists they you, you, criticize this point, and then they develop their own independent theory of personality development. But in this way, Sigmund Freud gave the popularity of psychology. In between, another stream it emerged called as Gestalt psychology. So Gestalt, it is a German term. If you see now, yes, the first line, it can be read either in second way or in third way. God is nowhere, now here for some people, and for some people, God is nowhere. It is entirely depend on the way you perceive. Object, it is just neutral. Your perception reflects your psychology. Your perception reflects about your mentality in simple terms, if we say. If you change your perception, your situation, your surrounding, it will get changed for you because you are changing your dimension. Moving ahead, even people in between realized, understood, and it has been also explored that psychology, it is not only just a chit chat topic, but yes, it has also have some biological and scientific perspective, cultural perspective, social perspective. The combination of means group of so many things called as bio, psycho, socio, cultural approach. Like physical particular characteristics we receive from one generation to another, with research it has been found that psychological characteristics also we receive from generations to generation. Genetic part, it is there. It can be about intelligence, it can be about temperament, it can be about any other thing. Genes also matters, biological structure, it plays important role. Social factors, so we have separate field called as social psychology, which studies cognitive dissonance also. How far the discrepancy between thoughts and actions reflects and how it matters. Social psychology. The principle of obedience. Why and how we follow the orders given by our authority, even if personally we didn't like it. Social part. Even cultural upbringing and surroundings also affects our psyche or mindset. Further, with the limitations of psychoanalysis and Gestalt, another emerge of a different wave, that is behaviorism in the history of psychology, a major force. The basic theme of behaviorism is if you change the environment, your behavior will get changed. Their entire focus is on the changing the circumstances, so automatically your behavior, your reactions, your set of patterns, it gets changed. So classical conditioning, operant conditioning, and observational learning, these are the three core principles of behaviorism. The first one, it was studied by Ivan Pavlov, classical conditioning. This experiment, it is known to all of us, I hope, that how he conditioned his dog just because of repeated exposure to particular thing. In simple term, as we say, the things you get habituated to do in a similar manner or in a particular manner. Earlier, the dog was not conditioned to give any response to the whistle. But just because consistent pairing of whistle with food, dog become habituated and conditioned to give response to that whistle also. Same principle is applicable even in addiction, either drinks, smoking, nowadays internet addiction, binge watching addiction, and all. Even this is the basic fundamental principle how we train our students in yoga class, how to condition with yogic healthy practices. This classical conditioning, it will help you to work on this in a more easy manner. So classical conditioning studied by Ivan Pavlov and operant conditioning particular principle based on law of effect. Law of effect in the sense I am able to judge myself or I am able to give particular response by considering the end results and consequences of that behavior. So Skinner, Thorndike, they experimented this phenomena on hungry cat. As the hungry cat was placed into that cage, she used to do some random movements. And once eventually, accidentally, she pressed that lever, she used to get out of it. With repeated practice, repeated trial, she understood that if we may if she makes some random movements, so then means there is no escape for her. But no matter what, the moment she used to press the lever, she immediately find or she was able to find her way to get out of it. Psychologists applied the same logic to human behavior also, that we judge ourselves or we tend to give direction to ourselves based on the consequences, considering the effect of that particular desired or undesired behavior. And then observational learning, it has been studied by Albert Bandura. It is also named as social learning approach, where he experimented that how even 3 to 4 year old child, just by observing others, just by imitating others, he can display that particular behavior. So observation plays important role. And this point having larger applications to parents, media, teachers, as how they give a room or how they behave in front of their children. Next course, it was about humanistic perspective. It is given by Abraham Maslow and Carl Roger. Carl Roger, he spoke about real self-concept and ideal self-concept. According to Roger, if there is maximum gap between who you are and what you want to be, who you are right now is your real self-concept, and what you want to be is your ideal self-concept. So if there is maximum gap between real self and ideal self, it will create stress, tension, anger, anxiety issues for individual. On the contrary, if your real self-concept and ideal self-concept quite goes hand in hand, that means you have quite realistic perception and understanding of yourself. So Roger said that first understand yourself, acknowledge yourself, and accept yourself the way you are. Then only you can move ahead. In between, Abraham Maslow, he raised a point that if we are true psychologists, then why we should study only and only the negative aspects of human behavior? Means, according to him, so there are, of course, healthy individuals in our society. We should study the healthy psyche as well. And therefore, I think in 1940s or in 50s, he interviewed more than 1,000 Americans. And then he come up with this pyramid, hierarchy of needs. According to him, physiological needs, safety needs, love and belonging, self-esteem. This is the hierarchy of need. Our entire behavior, all the set of actions are totally centralized, focused just to fulfill the physiological needs: hunger, thirst, sleep, shelter, these things. Once we are able to have that particular assurance that yes, we are and we will be able to fulfill our physiological needs, then only we can think about to satisfy our safety needs. Safety in our job, safety again with reference to our home, shelter, and so. Once we are able to fulfill and have that assurance of safety needs, then only we can move to love and belongingness need. Again, love in means to love and to be loved. It is a psychological need according to Maslow. Need for affiliation, it is also important need. After all, man is a social animal, as we say. And then it comes self-esteem need. Till the age of 40s, 50s or so, through so many struggles, sufferings, and ups and downs, and so we have achieved something. And at this particular time, individual expects some kind of respect from him and from others as well. It is need for him. At any of this phase, if individuals, any one of the need is not getting fulfilled, then individual becomes psychologically disturbed according to Maslow. And then he said, only 1% of our world they are able to reach, they are able to experience, they are able to fulfill the last need called as self-actualization. However, when he updated his theory in second phase, he said that all individuals have the ability to at least partially experience what exactly mean by self-actualization. In the sense, he said that means whatever task which we are doing, if we are able to engross ourselves into it, if we are able to just throw ourselves into it, and if we are able to enjoy that thing, that can be considered as self-actualization because we are quite happy. We have thought of being, creative, spontaneous, having approach to solve the problems. We are able to enjoy that thing. So it is called as self-actualization need. And then another force, it emerged in psychology called as cognitivism or cognitive perspective. In Hindi, as we say, that सबसे बड़ा रोग क्या कहेंगे चार लोग. We get so much disturbed, so much nervous, tense, just by thinking about others, how they will judge me, how they will think about me, or what kind of image or perception they are going to frame as per my appearance, my speech, my gesture also. Aaron Beck and Albert Ellis. These two people studied this perspective called as cognitive perspective. For them, it's not the environment which is responsible, but rather the perception which we take towards them. Aaron Beck, he has given some 5 core dimensions of inappropriate thinking called as cognitive distortions. Magnification, minimization, personalization, abstraction. So magnification in the sense, in real, the loss is quite small in nature, but person tends to exaggerate the loss. That is, he is magnifying the loss. And on the contrary, in reality, means whatever the positive things are there, some individuals have habit to reduce the intensity of it. They tend to ignore, they tend to avoid to see the positive things, so called as minimization. And personalization, it is associated with guilty feeling. For each and every loss, individual feels or blames himself. Abstraction in the sense having no objective relation between two things. I just not get selected in that exam because that exam occur on Friday, and that Friday it is not lucky day for me. So I failed. So I didn't get selected. This particular approach some individuals have, and that's why CBT, REBT, it helps a lot in counseling session to work on this type of people. And then another force it emerged called as existential perspective or logotherapy. It is given by Viktor Frankl, a Jew psychiatrist who was a sufferer in Auschwitz, Auschwitz camp. But the way he survived and the way he came out of it, based on his experiences and his personal study, he has written a book, Search for Meaning. This one book has been translated in more than 180 languages, and till the date, thousands and lakhs and crores of copies have been sold. According to him, individuals do suffer from stress, tension, anger, anxiety, and depression also, just because he is not able to find the meaning for his life. If individual is able to find the meaning of his life, then he will face ups and downs. Striving to find the meaning in one's life is the primary motivational force for human being. So the term is their existential perspective. Being exist means exactly what? So that's why if you see the journey of Western psychology, it is also from more objective to more subjective, from more materialistic to more philosophical in nature. The journey helps us to understand and to have some introspectory thought about ourselves, about our life. And that's why study of psychology it is so important. And then some other fields also nowadays they are emerging, like even Vipassana, the positive psychology, being mindfulness means exactly what, emotional intelligence, EQ, and all. So now psychology is it is even PNI, it is also there. That is psychoneuroimmunology. It is so the field of psychology it is growing, it is developing, evolving like anything. So in this way, so far we have discussed the field of psychology, definition, concept, approaches, goals, streams, so many perspectives, and other aspects. Now, moving on to second half of this segment, that is consciousness, motivation, and emotion. Conscious, as we have discussed earlier, that is being aware. Being aware means exactly what? Ulrich Neisser, he has defined consciousness as cognitive process. All processes by which, now see the wordings, the sensory input is transformed, reduced, elaborated, stored, recovered, and used. It is concerned with these processes even when they operate in the absence of relevant stimulation. America, it is not there in front of us, but still we can think about US, its locations, its lifestyle, ideologies, surroundings, and so many things. It occurs when they operate in the absence of relevant stimulation, as in images or in and hallucinations. So there are more than 10 to 12 core fields or domains of cognitive psychology. So what are they? Like attention, memory, language, thoughts, concept formation, imagination, sensation, developmental psychology. It is also related with the cognitive perspective because the milestone speaks a lot about brain development. Human intelligence, as we know, and nowadays AI, it is quite boom in nature. Artificial intelligence, then knowledge representation, and even neuropsychology. Attention has been conceptually defined as purposeful mental activity is what is attention. How far we are able to concentrate, how far we are able to memorize the things, how far we are able to control our forgetting nature. In attention again, so we have some types, that is selective attention, divided attention, even memory, sensory, short term, long term, autobiographical memory, flashbulb memory, episodic memory, even procedural memory. So many types of memories are there. Through research now, it has been found that there is scientific relation between what we think and the language which we use. Thinking and language goes hand in hand, and that becomes our belief system or belief pattern. Research has said that we speak to ourselves minimum 5 to 600 words per minute. 5 to 600 words per minute. See, language, thoughts, attention, even memory, imagination, how all these things are interrelated. And that's why this says that be conscious about your thought process, be conscious about your intentions, be conscious about your actions, because that reflects, that speaks about you, who you are, and what kind of structure upbringing you are having. That's why. And then another approach, that is motivation. So motivation, this particular word, it is originated from to move. To move in the sense having some movement. And then we say that he is our motivation, she is my inspiration, and so. That means after seeing that particular person, we are able to we are able to experience some physical and emotional changes in ourselves. So we say that it is our motivation, inspiration. In motivation also, again broadly, we have two types: internal motivating factor and external motivating factor. Internal motivating factor in the sense, the factors which we value a lot. It can be anything, but it is related with internal motivating factors. Finding a meaning in life is internal motivating factor. Seeing some particular opportunity in adversity is our internal motivating factor. On the contrary, doing a job just for your money, salary, it is also reward, it is also motivation, but it is called as external motivating factor because you are able to guide yourself just because of that outer perspective, outer stimulus. If you are working only for appreciation, recognition, admiration, praise or so, it is also considered as external motivating factors. In a way, so you are making yourself dependent on some external rewards. So the factors that direct and energize the behavior, see, factors that direct and energize the behavior of humans and other organisms called as motivation. Psychologists, scientifically, they have also studied the biological perspective of emotion and motivation. So, with reference to uh, 3.8 and 9, in detail, this part we are going to see that how emotion and motivation affects and directs our brain, thalamus, hypothalamus. Now, because it is related, so let's say that hippocampus, it works for storage of long-term memories. Some people are able to recall the positive things or negative things of their past just because of activeness of hippocampus. We feel hungry because of activation of hypothalamus. Hypothalamus, it works for our basic needs and instincts. So after having a lunch, after 3 to 4 hours, we feel quite hungry because hypothalamus gives us a signal to take concrete action to satisfy and to fulfill ourselves from hunger perspective. Amygdala, thalamus, limbic system, also called as emotional brain, it works as per their respective functions. Hormonal changes also related with emotion and motivation. The speed flow of neurotransmitters also matters a lot. And then comes with types of motivation. Physical motivation, we have social motivation, general motivation. If you see here, the circle of motivation or cycle, that is, without need, you cannot experience the motivation. Hunger, it is a need. Once you strongly feel that something is lacking, then only you tend to take a particular action on it. So, need stimulates the drive. Need in the sense what? Having a strong realization and understanding that yes, you are lacking in something. That need has to be experienced. I need to learn yoga. I need to have my fitness. I need to have calmness in my life. Then only we can search some ways, alternatives for it. So once we feel driven to achieve it, then we start thinking for some incentives. So getting a food, lunch, dinner to satisfy our hunger, sorry, it is called as incentives. Food, it is incentive in that case. It can be sweet, it can be spicy. Once we are able to experience incentives after fulfilling the drive, then we feel that yes, we have reached to our goal and now we are feeling content, relaxed. Then after again 4 hours, we start experiencing the need to fulfill our another thing. So it is a vicious cycle of being motivated. And then broadly speaking, these three types of motivations are there: physical, social, and general motivation. Physical in the sense hunger, thirst, sleep. Even six, it is also physical need, physical motivation. How to regulate your motivation, how to channelize those particular need without insulting and cheating other, that reflects the skills, that reflects being human means what. Same thing with social motivation, need for affiliation, need for aggression, and for some specific political people, these people have need for power. They want to rule others, they want to control others, they want to have some kind of dictatorship in their tenure, likewise. General motivation means like hand movements, having curious thoughts. And then, yes, as per Maslow's theory, already we have discussed that how need drives us, need, push us to take a particular action in some specific and desired way. The characteristics of motivation, if we say, yes, the motivation has some power. Consistency really matters. If we are having, variations in it, then we feel more, motivated. Otherwise, after a point, we may get less less interested and less, motivated to achieve a particular thing. Objectivity and goal orientation thought process, it is so important. A Chinese, proverb says that if you fail to plan, you plan to fail. Planning, objectivity, some kind of, determination has to be there. Earlier, respected our president, Dr. APJ Abdul Kalam, once he had said that low aim is a crime. Setting a low aim or low goal, it is a crime. So motivation helps us to have higher goal, to have higher aspirations. And in that way, again, automatically, we become selective. If to study is my goal, to study is my, motivational factor, then I become selective and choosy with my thought process. I will not hang out with my friends late in night. I become selective as yes, I need to study because it is my, motivation, source of inspiration that yes, I have to secure good marks, good score in this exam or in this particular course. So in this way, briefly, we have discussed about introduction to psychology, its definition, Greek terms, origins, history, the motivation concept, its definition, cycle, types, and so many things. Related with, YCB objective pattern. In this way, you can make your notes. Psychology means exactly what. In brief, you can write it down. Who has coined the term structuralism, functionalism associated with whom, psychoanalysis, key people, persons in behaviorism, humanistic, human cognitivism, existential perspective, and likewise. I hope you have followed this lecture. In next session, we are going to discuss about emotions means exactly what, emotional intelligence means what, and how far psychology can be considered from yogic perspective and mental health. So that part we will discuss in our next session. Thank you so much. Hari Om.